From just off Interstate 70, the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series is ready to thunder around the 1.5-mile Kansas Speedway on the west side of Kansas City. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Independence Racing Network. Monday Night NASCAR 2022 campaign continues tonight in another racing town that shares two states, Kansas City. He may not have had the fastest time every week, but Mike Wright is ready to continue his defense of the top spot in our season standings as the playoffs loom just 2 weeks away with that all-important points reset on the horizon. I'm Dave Regal here in the broadcast booth, and I'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag on the Independence Racing Network. And folks, glad to have you in with us tonight as Mike Wright, our points leader, is out here laying down some early qualifying laps as he sits atop the pile so far tonight. We'll take a look at our season standings momentarily, but right now, Wright lays down a fastest 30.36, followed by Brandon Minto here with a 30.56. So definitely just 3/10 of a second separating now. Minto and Wright. RP Allen with a 30.57, so just 1/100 of a second between RP Allen and Brandon Minto. RP here in the USAA 03 Toyota Supra, getting everything just right for his own setup. Matt White lays down a 30.52, so just a little bit faster as RP Allen now climbs back into that P2 position. Just 12 drivers have finished laying down their qualifying laps tonight, and we'll take a look here at Corey Burkett here in the number 13 Ford Mustang, that 1110 Ford. Tell you what, Corey Burkett, week in and week out, is always working on his craft. He's trying to get better, and quite frankly, we can't expect anything better here in the Under Series of NASCAR. I mean, you got to remember, Cup being normally the premier series in NASCAR, we look to Xfinity as basically the minor leagues or the feeder series. But I'll tell you what, here in the SNN family of racing, we have Cup, Xfinity, and trucks. I'll tell you what, some of the most exciting racing that I see all week long on the iRacing servers is right here in our very own Xfinity series, as we are watching Corey Burkett here. Seem to be having some kind of a connection problem. There it goes. That got it all smoothed out. Tony Burt here in the number 4 Chevrolet, getting his first lap in and done, finishing his qualifying effort with a 32.39. So definitely a 31.54. So definitely off the faster pace. Alexander Gangler, usually your race controller on a Sunday night for the Davis Brothers Roofing Cup Series over on Sim Racing Media here on YouTube.com. He's in the, looks like a corn, I guess. It's a big car with knobs. It's got the juice, and Alexander out here laying down his qualifying lap. Ricky Carmichael turning in a P14 effort there in the 04 Chevrolet. Jackson Derby finishing his qualifying effort as he is wobbling down the backstretch. We'll see what happens here with him. And just about halfway through our qualifying session tonight, about 5 minutes left in that. We'll take a look here at your top 20 in points. Of course, those 20 drivers going to be moving their way into the playoffs if everything stays the way it is right now. Mike Wright leads the way with, get this, folks, 1,247 total points, 372 bonus points. He has, he's just impressive. 11 wins, 20 top 5s, and 23 top 10. So out of a 28-week season, he really hasn't seen the back of the field at all, except for when he's lapping them. Bobby Blazer running in P2 right now in the points standings. Robert Nestor, your Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series commissioner, in third position with the Tuesday night NASCAR Truck Series Commissioner John Bawalda in fourth. And finally, rounding out the top five, Chris Claude, your Davis Brothers Roofing Sunday night NASCAR Cup Series Commissioner, running in fifth. And basically, if you look there, Chris Claude has more races than anybody started, as he has not missed a race. Well, he has only missed one race so far this season, Chris has, with 26 being counted. Aaron Mack in sixth, Brandon Minto in seventh, Zach Vaughn in eighth, Jeff Carson in ninth, and Brad Gunn rounding out the top 10. Of course, those other drivers looking to move on into the playoffs are Eugenio Alonso, normally in the number 86 Chevrolet. I do believe, if I understood correct, it's Carlos Ramos that will not be with us tonight. Eugenio Alonso should be out here. In fact, let's take a look here and see if we can find Eugenio. Eugenio Alonso not out on track this evening. Bennett Allen going to be in 12th position. Carlos Ramos, who will not be in the field tonight, normally driving the number 97 Toyota Supra, running in 13th on your point standings. Ian Humphreys in 14th. Zach Osborne in 15th. Chad Sanner, driver the number 59, in 16th. Dakota Cave in 17th. Tony Burt in 18th. Corey Burkett in 19th. And R.P. Allen in 20th. So those 20 drivers able to move on into the playoffs, all things considered. Nobody except for basically these top few here with all of the wins collected. So, they're going to be the ones that are able to transfer along. So we'll see exactly what happens. Right now, Lauren Jones out here getting ready to lay his qualifying lap in the number 11 Cheetos Toyota Supra. A lot of Toyotas in this field this evening, as we can see Andrew Jones in the number 64 Chevrolet finishing his qualifying run, netting himself 16th position. Still waiting for Anthony Paggio, John Bawalda, Ian Humphreys, Matthew Hellman, Brad Gunn to take to the asphalt here as we're getting everything ready. And right now we want to stop in and have a chat with our points leader, Mike Wright. And Mike Wright, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
I do, Dave. How's it going?
All right, man. Hey, listen, sorry we weren't able to be live last week as I had some car troubles of my own here in the real world. But I do understand, and I do have that race recorded, and basically I'm fighting with YouTube to get it loaded onto the
Gotcha.
YouTube server. But I do want to give you a moment here and talk about what last week's race had meant to everybody.
Yeah, so thanks for giving us a chance to do it again. So in the race at Darlington, when you get that loaded up and people watch it, you'll see a good portion of the cars are going to be black painted cars. And the reason for that is Mike Astuto and I, in real life, have a friend. His name's Larry. He will not race, but he does spot and also watches all your broadcasts and all the Truck Series broadcasts that we run in. His son, 21 years old, died in a motorcycle accident in the week before the Darlington race. So that obviously was a big tragedy, and that affects Larry, obviously, and his family directly. And then Mike and I, just knowing the family personally, it was big for us too. And so the community here, we all came together and was just trying to find a way to make something happen, knowing that he would watch. So we did that with the black cars, and we did a little tribute on the start of the race, and then with how we finished the race, we also did that at the end of the race too. And so they were able to watch the truck race with us the next day, so that was a good thing for them. So appreciate the time, and I'm sure that he'll enjoy going back and watching that Darlington race as well.
Absolutely, man, and we will get that Darlington race uploaded as soon as YouTube wants to cooperate with us, but I'll be working on that, more again this evening, as I gotten it recorded and ready to rock and roll and just can't get it for whatever reason. Technology being what it is just doesn't want to work with me. But Mike, thank you for the time,
sometimes.
and thank you for the time, and we'll get you back up there into the FERTA chat, and good luck tonight, brother.
Thanks, Dave. Have a good race.
That was Mike Wright, your points leader, as The drivers getting in the cars, the command to start their engines has been given. Looks like a pretty serious grid tonight here, folks. And we'll get all of this right to you here in just a moment. Just waiting for Mike Wright and Justin Prater to get in their cars. There is Mike Wright, our points leader, and tonight's pole sitter here in the number 98 Ford Mustang. He will be joined on the outside of row number 1 with Justin Prater, as Justin now has gotten in his supposed to be number 17 Chevrolet Camaro. In fact, we are going to take just one brief moment here, and he should be up to date. Not sure why that car is showing the 9. Bennett Allen going to be on the inside of row number 2 with R.P. Allen, his brother, on the outside of row number 2. Bob Nestor, the pride of Lansdale, Pennsylvania, your Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series commissioner, sits on the inside of row 3 as Matt White is going to be on his outside from Stewartville, Minnesota. Chad Sanner from Smithfield, Pennsylvania, in the number 59 Chevrolet Camaro, going to be sitting on the inside of row number 4 with Brandon Minto on his outside, the pride of Norman, Oklahoma. Michael Astuto and Aaron Mack make up row number 5 and round out your top 10. Row 6 made up of Zachary Vaughn and Ethan Flanagan from Lexington. Jeff Carson, the pride of Cross Junction, Virginia, driving the number 9. Normally Napa Auto Parts, but tonight the Toyota Supra, sponsored by Mobile. On the outside of row number 7, going to be Corey Burkett in the number 13. Lauren Jones in his number 11 Cheetos machine, going to be on the inside of row number 8 with the GOAT of all that is motocross and supercross, Ricky Carmichael, in the 04 Monster Chevrolet Camaro. Andrew T. Jones and Chris Claude make up row number 9, with row number 10 being your normal Sunday Night NASCAR race controller, Alexander Gangler, in the number 82 Corn Toyota Supra. Jackson Derby going to be on the outside of row number 10 with Tony Burt on the inside of row number 11, with John Bawalda on the outside of row number 11. Row number 12 made up of Ian Humphreys and Matthew Helm, and Brad Gunn and Anthony Paggio not going to be taking the start here from the grid tonight. So all of these drivers getting their act together as things finally starting to dial in, as the iRacing.com pace car has its lights off, and that means that we will be going green flag racing from Kansas Speedway tonight. Kansas Speedway, of course, one of 2 tracks that straddles a state line, as it straddles, of course, Missouri and Kansas. Bristol being the other one, where the town of Bristol straddles both Tennessee and Virginia. So 200 laps scheduled tonight here in the MNN Xfinity Series. We'll have stage breaks at lap 45 and 90. They're going to be laying 5 sets of tires with a total of 6. So a lot going on for these drivers tonight. And I'll tell you what, at this point, it's going to get real exciting real fast. I'm sorry. 5 total sets of tires, 4 changes. So laying 4 with 1 on board. So just as that iRacing.com pace car going to be looking to take that hard left down pit road, the only thing left to do is grab some popcorn, call a friend, settle in, because we are green flag racing at Kansas Speedway. All but 3 wide going into turn number 1, as Mike Wright going to be riding the high side here, doing what he can with Bennett Allen now side by side going into turn number 3. Looks like Bennett Allen going to be taking the lead away from him in the JCTV Toyota Supra, as it looks like Bennett going to lead lap number 1 here. Just as we cross the start-finish line, Bennett Allen getting credit for leading that first lap here on iRacing Timing and Scoring. You can see that we're using the NASCAR timing tower tonight instead of our traditional ticker. Want to give everybody a better chance to see where your favorite driver is here on track tonight. And speaking of your favorite driver, if you are tuning in on YouTube, I am Dave Regal here at the microphone. You're watching the Independence Racing Network here on YouTube.com. And make sure, whoa, getting a little loose there is Bennett Allen as they come toward the start-finish line here for lap number 3. That allows Mike Wright to open up the door and get himself right on through. Anyway, make sure in the live chat that you are letting us know who your favorite driver is tonight and who you'd like to see here atop the leaderboard as R.P. Allen chasing Mike Wright down. We're going to be seeing that a lot tonight, I'm afraid, folks. And we can see just how close they are here timing-wise. Mike Wright and Bennett Allen with R.P. Allen chasing the two of them down in P3. 4 laps complete so far of 200 here. We're looking back now at R.P. Allen, who leads the 48 of Matt White. It's a Ford and 4 Toyotas, as it looks like Bob Nestor has changed the font of his 29 on his relative properties Toyota Supra as he is being chased down by Chad Sanner. Working our way back through the field, Ethan Flanagan and Aaron Mack running in 7th and 8th position with Brandon Minto and Justin Prater rounding out the top 10. But don't look now, Zachary Vaughn looking to challenge for that 10th position. We do see Justin Prater here in 10th position, getting just here on the high side with Zachary Vaughn now working the inside. Zach starts to dive down in there. Oh, and it's starting to get a little heated here as now the 03 of R.P. Allen works the low side and gets around Matt White here in the 48. And now we're taking a look at Brandon Minto, who basically has himself a nice cushion on either side of him. Looks like iRacing not really sure exactly who it wants to follow here. My goodness. This is quite a race so far this evening. And folks, if you are just tuning in, welcome into the Independence Racing Network on YouTube.com. Leo Bonacasa in our live chat cheering on Money House Racing. Leo, glad to have you with us as always. Leo, of course, a dedicated Cup driver here on the Davis Brothers Roofing Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series. Taking a look now at Jeff Carson, who finished very well last night in the Cup Series here at Kansas Speedway, as he is chasing down Zachary Vaughn. And I'll tell you what, Jeff Carson, one of those drivers that you're going to see week after week, who is Mr. Consistency when it comes to hitting his marks. And believe you me, Jeff can go, 10, 20, 30, 40 laps hitting the same marks every time that we're going to see here at Kansas, as he does work his way around the 91 of Zachary Vaughn, securing 10th position away. Jeff Carson crawling up into that top 10. Now we see side-by-side Bob Nestor getting around R.P. Allen as Bob Nestor takes that commissioner's privilege and slides right in front of R.P. Allen. R.P. now not willing to go to bed early, uses the crossover on Nestor, and we're going to see these two drivers neck and neck now, side-by-side, coming out of turn number 4, back into the tri-oval. And it looks like right now Nestor still has the edge over Allen in that USAA Toyota Supra. A couple of Toyotas going at it, as now it looks like R.P. Allen has slid back to where Chad Sanner is, and maybe Chad Sanner and R.P. going to try to work together, as even Chad Sanner starts to, on his exit there from turn 2, gets a little wild, being followed by Ethan Flanagan in the number 46. Ethan Flanagan in his debut race with the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series here on the Independence Racing Network, as everybody getting a little loose coming down into the tri-oval. So many different lines here in the tri-oval, as you're going to see tonight. Some drivers you're going to see coming down onto the apron. Other drivers you're going to see, staying up on that racing surface. Honestly, it all comes down to driver preference here. And we see Ethan Flanagan trying to make himself a statement early on here at Kansas, as he was trying to take down setup genius and guru Chad Sanner in the number 59 Black Rifle Coffee Chevrolet Camaro. They are both being chased down by that high V Toyota Supra driven by Aaron Mack, as Aaron still trying to hit his marks and now dives underneath the 46 to get himself a little bit of momentum. We're going to see him drift up here and try to use that to chase the 46 down, but right now Ethan Flanagan with the edge over top of Aaron Mack, and we'll take a look here at Ethan, and he of course is a M.Dot Cup champion from Lexington, so glad to have Ethan with us tonight for his first race in the MNN Xfinity Series, proudly brought to you by Butt Kicker RS Button Boxes and presented by Northeastern Fire and Air. Jeff Carson trying to get around R.P. Allen yet again as R.P. Allen kisses the wall just a little. Last week was Darlington, my friend. You don't need that stripe this week, R.P., as now they come out of turn 4 into the tri-oval. Looks like R.P. Allen going to be chased down by Andrew Jones in that very nice patriotic paint scheme here on his Chevrolet Camaro, as, of course, yesterday was the 21st anniversary of the terrorist attacks on September 11th, 2001. And that red, white, and blue, I'll tell you what, reminds us that we will never forget what happened on that terrible day in New York, Washington, D.C., and a field in rural Pennsylvania. Bob Nestor getting around Chad Sanner, moves his way into P4. It looks like Bob's trying to set himself up to set sail for Matt White. Of course, there's quite a distance between Bob and Matt, as basically 3.2 seconds from Bob to Matt. So right now, biggest thing that could help him, and I don't want to really do that broadcaster's curse this early in a race, but of course we all know that a caution right now could bring Bob that much closer to the rear bumper of Matt White, who right now is just hanging around Bennett Allen and Mike Wright. Mike Wright, of course, out here leading this pack for the last several laps now. And at 158 miles per hour, comes out of turn number 4 and back to cross the stripe for lap number 17. Further back in the field, Tony Burt just working his way around Matthew Helm. We'll take a look here and see what happened. And we can see Tony Burt just getting here on the low side of Matthew Helm. And he called it out just right. And Tony able to hold that low side as we see him work his way safely around Matthew Helm in the number 25 Premier Racing Setup Shop Toyota Supra. So, you know, Tony Burt, one of those drivers that we see all the time, just being a complete gentleman out here on the racetrack, as, you know, quite frankly, you know, sometimes all of us have a tendency maybe to get a little full of ourselves. Now it looks like Brad Gunn had himself an issue. We'll take a look and see. Taking a look back here to see exactly what might have happened to Brad Gunn. Brad Gunn must have just gotten in his car and is now getting ready to take his opening lap. as we're going to see him down several laps, just about 18 now. You'll see him finally pop up on your leaderboard here on the left side of your screen. Our new NASCAR timing tower. Down about 18 laps, almost 20 altogether once he finally gets wound up. We can see that there's quite a distance between Bennett Allen here and then Aaron Mack way back, almost 6 seconds, as now it looks like, whoa, we've got 3 wide action. The 31 holding his own here as Brandon Minto getting ready to split the difference. And they go side by side. The 48 holding the high side with next to no problems. Matt White there keeping his line on the high side. He allows Minto to slide in between himself and Aaron Mack. Aaron Mack, of course, in that Hy-Vee Toyota Supra, getting around with next to no issues here. That brings us back here to Jeff Carson in the number 9 Toyota Supra. And he is now side by side with the 48 of Matt White. Matt White and Carson going to be going at it hammer and tongs here, with Bob Nestor back here just lurking like a snake in the grass waiting to jump out and bite you. He will wait for that perfect moment to slide that number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra just about anywhere on this track, as that is how he became the reigning Truck Series champion last year. And it looks like he is waiting to do it again as he moves in on Matt White's left rear quarter panel, coming out here on lap number 24 of 200. So just about 16 laps left here until we get to that first stage break. Of course, here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, a lot to talk about as the playoffs are coming. And we do want to make sure that we talk about that to some degree. And let's just pull up some of this information here for the NASCAR notes. Now, keep in mind, with these playoffs coming, the top 20 drivers will move on into the top 20 points drivers, will move on into the playoffs. Then, of course, moving right along, then we have, of course, non-playoff drivers. So the champion who wins after the playoffs conclude, he will win a butt kicker and a choice of an I flag or $100. Second place in your... 3 wide with the 32 splitting the difference between the 48 and the 59 of the 39, of Michael Astuto. Looks like Nestor here holding on for dear life, as now it looks like he is down 5 positions from where he had started, with the GOAT Ricky Carmichael here on the low side. Carmichael making one of his strongest runs of the season so far here in the MNN Xfinity Series, up 5 positions, running currently in 11th place right now, working the low side of Bob Nestor. And it looks like Nestor going to be holding that high side with next to no issue. Don't look now, though. The 46 of Ethan Flanagan looking to try to make things interesting. I don't think he's going to try to park that 46 between the 04 and the 29. But the 29 and the 04 here, one of your closest battles on track tonight. Anyway, then third place in your season standings will also win a butt kicker. Then fourth place will win whichever the champion didn't choose, just as we're watching Supercross and Motocross champion Ricky Carmichael working the low side of Bob Nestor. So a couple of champions there cutting it up, as looks like your Supercross champion now gets around Bob Nestor, your Truck Series champion, your 2021 Truck Series champion, that is, here in the SNN family of racing. Then your the fourth place winner will take whichever the champion didn't choose, so either the I flag or $100. Then finally, the top non-playoff driver will be awarded whichever the champion and fourth place didn't choose. So, if the fourth place driver chooses the $100, then the top non-playoff driver would automatically win then the I flag. So a lot of prizes here. I'll tell you what, one of the best prize pools that I can think of in recent memory here on the iRacing.com servers, as you have to remember that a lot of these drivers here, they basically I mean, this is a free league to get in. You don't have to pay anything. And, even Ricky Carmichael here from Tallahassee, Florida, out here competing for that. And he could still try to make it into those playoffs tonight should he bring home a checkered flag later here in this race. Taking a look now at Bennett Allen, who he and Mike Wright are just out here logging laps, hitting their marks without any problem whatsoever. And then it's nearly 6 seconds back to Brandon Minto, who's now being followed by Jeff Carson. Ian Humphreys running in 5th position right now from Renton, Washington, followed by Aaron Mack in the number 31 Toyota Supra from Fort Riley, Kansas. So basically a home track for him. Michael Astuto in the 39, followed by Matt White here from Stewartville, Minnesota. Bob Nestor in the number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra from Lansdale, Pennsylvania, running in 9th right now, followed by Ricky Carmichael out of Tallahassee, Florida, running and rounding out your top 10. And just as we say that, looks like Ricky looking to maybe get around Nestor here for P9. We'll keep an eye on that. But meanwhile, we're going to be searching a little bit all around the racetrack tonight. As R.P. Allen now working the high side over top, almost over top of Zachary Vaughn. Tony Burt now getting around R.P. Allen in the 03 USAA Toyota Supra. R.P. Allen going the wrong direction as he is one of our biggest losers here, as he is down 11 positions. But right now, your biggest mover in the wrong direction, Justin Prater in the number 17, down 20 spots from where he had begun. So, Prater starting on the outside of row 1, now way back in 22nd. Your biggest mover in the right direction tonight is Ian Humphreys in the number 32 Toyota Supra, as he is also out here in that red, white, and blue, very patriotic paint scheme here at Kansas Speedway. And Kansas Speedway, I don't want to say has very deep history, but, of course, because it hasn't been around that long per se. But, quite frankly, this racetrack opened up. They broke ground in 1999 and opened in 2001, so it is just as it has been around just as long as any right now. So 21 years ago, and we've seen several different Cup drivers winning here. Of course, Jeff Gordon winning the inaugural race in his iconic number 24. Chevrolet, of course, from Hendrick Motorsports. Your most recent Cup winner on this past Sunday, Bubba Wallace for 23XI Racing. 23XI having pretty good performances here with the number 45, as May 15th, Kurt Busch wins. And here we are on September 11th with Bubba Wallace bringing home the checkered flag. So a lot of different winners from all kinds of different places. Martin Truex Jr. picking up a season sweep in 2017 in May and October here. And it almost seems like if you win in the spring race, you're probably poised to do very well in the fall race, or the summer race, that is. "37 laps complete, working our way toward 40 laps here in the MNN Xfinity Series, live on the Independence Racing Network, brought to you by RS Button Box's Butt Kicker, and of course proudly presented by Northeastern Fire and Air. And glad to have all of you with us tonight. I am Dave Regal here at the microphone. Mike Wright is your race leader as he laps Chris Claude. Chris Claude now would be your free pass car here if the caution were to come out now. Bennett Allen running in P2. Third being Brandon Minto here in the number 12 Chevrolet Camaro, followed by Jeff Carson. Of course, Alexander Gangler down a couple of laps here, down a lap now, as it looks like Chris Claude, John Bawalda, Then Prater, Jones, Jackson Derby, and Alexander Gangler also the one lap down brigade. As we're kind of hoping that those guys can get those laps back. But here we are on lap number 39. At the conclusion of lap number 40, the green and white checkered flag will fly, signaling the end of stage number 1. You have to keep in mind, folks, we do run the full-length races here in the MNN Xfinity Series. So, whatever they ran in real life this past Saturday is what we run on a Monday night here on YouTube.com. And just as I say that, looks like Mike Wright going to be chasing down the 64 now to put Andrew T. Jones down a lap as we are racing back around. Once the 10th place car right now, that would be Aaron Mack, comes around and crosses the start-finish line, that will conclude stage number 1. And basically at this point in time, we're kind of waiting to see who's going to be that 10th place car. Not a whole lot of chance for Nestor to catch him now. As Mike Wright crosses the start-finish line, he becomes your stage number 1 winner, and we will talk with Mike in a second. It's going to be Mike Wright, Bennett Allen, Brandon Minto, Jeff Carson, Ian Humphreys, Michael Astuto, Corey Burkett, Matt White, Ricky Carmichael, and Aaron Mack rounding out your top 10 here as Nestor chases down Aaron Mack but does not have enough to be that 10th place car as lap number 41. And now I'm thinking perhaps I have something wrong. We're going to take a look. Folks, you'll have to forgive me. We are going to lap number 45 for stage 1. So Bob Nestor does crawl into the top 10, getting around Ethan Flanagan. Not sure what happened to Aaron Mack. We'll have to take a look back here. And we see Nestor just getting along the low side of Aaron Mack, able to hold that bottom line. And as always, looks like Bob able to secure that with next to no issue. Mike Wright, still your race leader. And right now we are working our way toward lap number 45. You'll have to forgive me, folks. I, for some reason, must have had some cranial flatulence, if you will. And for some reason thought instead of 45 that we were going to lap number 40. So as we run right now, it's Wright, Minto, Allen, Humphreys, Carson, your top 5. And Jeff Carson had a great performance last night. We'll take a look at the Cup Series performances from last night as we are on lap number 45. Mike Wright, your race leader, getting ready to come down into turns number 3 and 4 one more time. He's going to be sucking up toward the back of Matthew Helm. Matthew Helm able to hold him off at this point in the race. And quite frankly, I don't think Mike Wright stands to gain anything by putting Helm down a lap as he gets off the throttle, followed by Brandon Minto, only just now coming out of turn 4. So an 11-second gap between Wright and Minto. And we're still waiting for Bob Nestor to come out of turn 4, crossing the start-finish line. And that should conclude your first stage. So at the conclusion of stage number 1, officially now, it's going to be Mike Wright, your points leader, also your race leader, followed by Brandon Minto, Ian Humphreys, Bennett Allen, Jeff Carson. Let's get their beautiful details up here from Cross Junction, Virginia. Michael Astuto, Matt White back here in the 48, followed by Corey Burkett, Ricky Carmichael, and Bob Nestor rounding out your top 10. Those drivers will be receiving bonus points, of course, ranging from 10 points to 1 point from first place on back here. Let's take a moment here to talk to our good friend Mike Wright, as we should be able to talk to Mike in just a moment here. Mike Wright, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
I do. How's it going?
It's going pretty good for me. Seems like it's going pretty good for you. Obviously, that car dialed in there for Ferta Motorsports as you bring the 98 down pit road. How's she feeling tonight?
It's pretty good. You know, I think we as a team do pretty good on slicker track, so we're headed that direction with the track temp here. Good long run. So we'll see if we can do a little something for the short run, just in case we get some cautions. But hopefully, no cautions.
Trust me, we're all always hoping for no cautions as you pull in, and obviously you're going to be getting some four Mr. Feelgoods, a tank of Go Fast, and are you going to be making any pit changes here? Or are you just, I mean, like you said, you were going to make some changes in case of the short run, but how much do you think that's going to affect you moving forward here as you, of course, win the race off of pit road?
That's what we were talking about coming there before. We were trying to figure out who felt what on the run and what changes, because a lot of times with the way the races are here, if I make a change, I can report back what that felt like, and they can do something a little different, and by the end of the race we can kind of put them all together. So we'll see little changes here or there, see what that does to our pace, particularly on the shorter run, and then we can adjust for that rather long stage 3, hopefully.
Absolutely, man. Well, listen, we're going to cut you loose, but congratulations on that stage 1 win, and maybe we'll see what happens here in stage 2, man.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. That, of course, is your race leader and your points leader, Mike Wright, and driver of the number 98 Ford Mustang. And, week after week, Mike Wright gets it done here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. Just a great driver all around and a great guy. I mean, very, very oriented with his team, as, of course, last week at Darlington, they had, shown some respect to a friend of the team and, their spotter. So Mike Wright here sits atop the pile. And as we're getting ready to rack them and stack them all over again here for the beginning of stage 2, we're going to have Mike Wright, Brandon Minto, Ian Humphreys, Jeff Carson, Michael Astuto, Corey Burkett, Ricky Carmichael gaining 3 spots there. Matt White, Chad Sanner, and Ethan Flanagan rounding out your top 10. Chris Claude back in 15th position. Not sure what's going on with Chris, as he has only just come down pit road, as I believe he should have been that free pass driver. And it looks like the 25 stayed out so he can get a lap back. That's going to be an interesting decision here, as the 25 of Matthew Helm going to have to come all the way back around and get to the end of the longest line. Basically on old tires and lighter fuel, so not sure what Matthew Helm is thinking other than get this lap back. Actually, it looks like Matthew Helm did come down pit road, so not really sure why he's sitting up front, as he is going to take the free pass and get around the iRacing.com pace car. The iRacing.com pace car lights are on, so we do have yet another lap of pacing here on lap number 50. Obviously, the green has been, the yellow flag has been extended by a lap. And everybody trying to get racked back up where they belong side by side. 2 by 2, please, as Miss Frizzle would say, on the Magic School Bus. And, folks, welcome into our live stream here on YouTube.com. I'm going to have to step away for a few moments here and try to clean up some of the spam that has now flooded our feed. Nothing like the joy of technology wreaking havoc, but as the iRacing.com pace car brings everybody out of turn number 2, looks like we will be ready to go back green flag racing as everybody has gotten themselves reset here and ready to go. The iRacing.com pace car. Well, I'll tell you what, Leo, I'm not sure, and I wish I did. Basically, it's nothing but a bunch of spam. Thank you for letting me know what's going on. The iRacing.com pace car getting ready to make that hard left to go down pit road. We're going to keep our eye on the man in the stand who's got that green flag wrapped up and in his hand. Mike Wright brings the field back toward the Geico.com restart zone. He gets through the green flag waves, and we are underway once again at Kansas Speedway. Ian Humphreys working the inside now. Looks like he was trying to come after, and it looks like Bennett Allen has gotten himself into some kind of trouble back here. We'll take a look. We see Bennett Allen in the 03 Toyota Supra. Right here in the middle of your screen, just underneath the 9, right behind Tony Bird. Oh, they get together, Tony Burt. We are under caution. What a complete disaster has gone on here. Taking a look here now, you can see right now the 36, the 4, and the 3 are 3 wide here. The 03 trying to get into the mix. The 59 gets loose. He gets back up onto the track. Maybe the 3 checks up. He gets into the 4, and it just turns into pandemonium in the ring. As Lauren Jones got whacked pretty good out of this. We'll run this back and see it from Lauren's perspective, as that's not going to be fun for anybody back here. Lauren sees the wreck going on, but he stays on the throttle. He gets off a little bit, feathers it, tries to go down, and catches all kinds of a nightmare. We'll take a look yet from one more perspective. As it looks like Commissioner Bob Nestor also caught a pretty bad piece of this. We can already see that front right area of the number 29 a little crinkled here as he's on the low side following the 3. This all happens right in front of him. And he sees the 59 getting loose. He backs out of the throttle. He stays low and just has nowhere to go except down and out of the way. Nestor, catches the 3. The 03, and from one more perspective, we'll see this from the perspective of the 03, and maybe we can find out exactly what would have caused him to even get in this situation in the first place. As we see the 03 here in the middle, 3 wide near the meet is not what you want to hear from the spotter. He sees the 59, gets behind his brother, and just winds up catching everything there in the front end. We can see him trying to counter steer, but does nothing but spin like a top. So with our first caution for incident here, something that we don't see a whole lot of in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, quite a mess ensuing here toward the back of the field. Hopefully that doesn't do too much to ruin too many nights today. Here as looks like your top 10 going to be made up of Mike Wright, Brandon Minto, Ian Humphreys, Michael Astuto, Ricky Carmichael in the old top 5 there. Then rounding out the top 10 is Matt White, Jeff Carson, Corey Burkett, Ethan Flanagan, and Aaron Mack. So plenty of talent here in the top 10. That goes without saying. But right now cannot be a very good feeling for many of these drivers who were just involved in that wreck. As so many, especially Tony Bird, who, as I've said time and time again, Tony is just a great person, Some of us have rough nights on the track, but Tony every day always has such a great attitude, and hopefully he can get that number 4 fixed up here. In fact, let me see if we can dial him up as we get ready to go back green flag racing. Actually, we're going to grab Bennett Allen here. Bennett Allen in the infield care center. Hey, Bennett Allen, Dave Regal in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Sadly, I do.
Young man, what happened back there? What were you trying to do being the meat of that 3-wide sandwich?
Well, I knew I had to run on Tony coming off of 2, so I was going to make it 3-wide. I made it stick on the bottom, and then the 59 was losing it ahead of me. And had my brother behind me. I was afraid he was going to butt ram me, so I kind of moved high a little bit to also avoid the 59, and Tony was there, and I came up into Tony. My brother is trying to say, hey, it wasn't your fault, but it was my fault, and I take full blame for it. It was just me trying to avoid the 59, not knowing how close Tony was on my outside, so it's really unfortunate for this JCTV Toyota Super for Money House, and we had a lot of red, white, and blue on it, supporting, remembering 9/11, but just unfortunate, but it happens. It's part of racing. We'll try to go get him again next week at Bristol.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You look at it, and a lot of it has to go in the stuff happens folder. I mean, we watched it from a few different perspectives, and I mean, when you get into that 3-wide situation, and like you said, Sander kind of got down there on the apron, watched everybody check up, and sometimes you just get caught in that accordion situation, and sometimes you bite the bear, and other times the bear bites you.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. I mean, Josh Cropper was my spotter. He was doing an amazing job, let me know how much I was 3-wide, and it was just kind of like wreck avoidance type thing. I was just made sure I wasn't losing momentum, and I just ended our night, which is okay. I mean, like I said, it happens. It's just part of the thing. I'm not totally disappointed. It's unfortunate. We had a pretty fast, car. It was a little tight. Well, not a little tight, really tight long run. After the first stage, I had 11% left on my right front, so we're not happy in that accord. But we'll go get him next week at Bristol. It's not my favorite track in the world, but we'll survive.
Hey, trust me. One of the things about when you transition from an intermediate like this to a short track is, Bristol is a completely different animal. A lot of times that I see here, and I'm not trying to hold you up, but a lot of times what I see is for these tracks that somebody gets on the radio and they say, oh, I hate this track, somehow that's a track that I feel like you're suddenly going to do better at. Because I know that you put a lot of work into your craft and that you do a lot of practice, which means that because you hate it, I know that you're going to practice that a little bit harder over the next week. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. I'm just scared of official races. I mean, it's Bristol, really fast, half mile, I think it is. It's just, it's not my favorite when it's a banked half mile oval, man. And not many people know how it works. So that's what I'm mostly scared of. I know that the MNN guys will do an amazing job at making a good, clean race, but practicing is going to be a feat in its own. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely, man. Well, listen, thank you for taking the time, and we'll see you next week at Bristol, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dave.
That was Bennett Allen, driver of the number 3 Toyota Supra. Of course, having a rough night tonight as he had gotten wrapped up there in that last caution. But right now, Ricky Carmichael making a charge for the top 5 here as he is in 5th, working his way toward Jeff Carson. Jeff Carson trying to hit those marks lap after lap, and it looks like Carson going to be able to hold him off for the time being. Mike Wright, your race. Oh, of course, just as soon as I get ready to look away, now it looks like the 39 of Michael Astuto working the low side of Ricky Carmichael. So we'll have to keep it right there. You can see in the lower right portion of your screen these cars trying to make some kind of distance up on one another. And while these cars get it all cranked up, we are going to step aside and pay some bills here on the Independence Racing Network.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have: breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today, and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know how.
Welcome back to Kansas City, Kansas, just on the west side of that Missouri border. Mike Wright, your Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series points leader, also leads your race here at Kansas Speedway, followed by Brandon Minto, Ian Humphreys, Michael Astuto, and Matt White rounding out your top five. We can see your Sunday Night NASCAR race controller, Alexander Gangler, in that corn Toyota Supra, getting lapped once again by your leaders. Jeff Carson in sixth right now, Matthew Helm in seventh, Ricky Carmichael in eighth, Ethan Flanagan in ninth, and Aaron Mack rounds out your top 10 tonight. I'm Dave Regal here on the Independence Racing Network, calling all the shots, the ones and twos, and everything in between on YouTube.com. Glad to have you in with us. Make sure that you're in your YouTube live chat. Let us know who your favorite driver is, who you're pulling for. Of course, we've already heard from the godfather of SNN, Leo Bonacasa. Carlos Ramos says that three wide never ends well in the sim. And Danny D says, let's go thin meat for Brandon Minto. So obviously Brandon Minto out here has himself quite a fan in Danny D from Norman, Oklahoma, here in the number 12 Chevrolet Camaro. He is working on trying to catch up to Mike Wright, but Mike Wright has just set sail tonight as he has a 2.3 second lead over Minto here on lap number 70. We are working our way toward lap number 90 at the end of stage number 2. Just one caution for cause tonight, one caution for incident tonight, as earlier there was a problem there with Bennett Allen, who we had talked to in the infield care center. And right now, Brandon Minto being challenged by Ian Humphreys in the number 32. We'll turn on the battles box. We'll see these two drivers going at it. And, right now we can see at this stage in the game, Humphreys trying to get those extra bonus points, working his way up in the point standings, trying to keep in that top 20 that will move on to the playoffs. So things starting to heat up here as it looks like Minto and Humphreys going to be side by side. The hammers and tongs are out here in stage number 2 with now 20 laps to go in stage number 2. And we are under caution as Brad Gunn has gotten himself into some kind of trouble here on the track. We'll take a look here at the replay. Just as Brad Gunn going to be getting himself into trouble here in the number 36 Toyota Supra. We can see him coming through the tri-oval down toward turn number 1. And it looks like he is just going to have this car step out from underneath him. He gets loose coming out of 2, out of nowhere. Maybe some kind of a hardware failure. We'll find out in just a moment if we can. But nothing except for what looks like, and we'll find out, maybe just having a hardware failure, which, here in the sim, that can be nerve-wracking in and of itself. As, like we just said, here he is coming out of turn 2, and it's just like he has this thing fishtail on him, and just a hard, right when you can see right here when the car suddenly snaps loose. It's definitely not supposed to do that, so we'll see if we can get a hold of Brad Gunn. With just under 20 to go. Brad Gunn, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah.
Hey man, what happened back there? You have a hardware failure? Everything okay?
I got loose, but I wasn't as loose as I thought I was. And I overcorrected really, really bad.
Fair enough. Yeah, we saw you get a little loose, and then all of a sudden it just snapped on you. So I wasn't sure if it was a hardware failure on the computer side or, what was going on. So
No, sir. Poor driving. Like I said, I got a little bit loose, but I wasn't as loose as I thought I was. I jerked it to the right way too hard.
all right, man. Fair enough. Well, listen, get that number 36 fixed and back out on track.
Yes, sir. Will do.
That was Brad Gunn from the 1110 Mods team, and I'll tell you what, the 1110 Mods team, one of those teams we see week in and week out. These drivers, put a lot of time into their setups. They put a lot of time into their racecraft, and it always really stinks when we see, these drivers kind of just run into some hard luck. So that's our second caution for cause tonight, as we have just over 15 laps to go here in stage number 2. That built Ford proud number 98 Mustang sits atop the pile with Brandon Minto running in second, Ian Humphreys in third, Matt White in fourth, Michael Astuto in fifth, Jeff Carson in sixth, Ricky Carmichael in seventh, Matthew Helm in eighth, Aaron Mack in ninth, and Corey Burkett rounding out the top 10. Glad to see Corey Burkett getting this machine going in the right direction tonight. Is, sometimes it seems like it's almost like in football or baseball or any of the other major sports where the injury bug sometimes beats people. Corey Burkett a lot of times has that way too loose beating him sometimes here on the racetrack. So glad to see that he is moving in a positive direction in the 1110 Ford Mustang, running in 10th position, up 5 from where he had started. Your big mover of the night so far is Ian Humphreys in the number 32 Toyota Supra, up 20 positions from where he had started back in 23rd, now running in 3rd. So big night for him. One of the other big movers of the night going to be Matthew Helm, the 32's teammate here in the number 25 Premier Racing Setups Toyota Supra, up 17 spots from where he had started, as he is now running in 8th position. So from 25th to 8th, I would say that's a pretty big night for him as well. We are back under green here as Mike Wright takes the green flag. We work our way down into turn number 1. We will step aside and let you folks turn it up at home as we listen to the sounds of Monday Night NASCAR. Mike Wright, your race leader here on lap number 83 of 200, working our way toward lap number 90 in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. Dave Regal here with you in the Independence Racing Network broadcast booth, brought to you by Butt Kicker RS Button Boxes and proudly presented by Northeastern Fire and Air. Right now, taking a look at Michael Astuto working the low side of Brandon Minto, and it looks like Astuto going to be able to wrestle that spot away from him as they cross the start-finish line on lap number 84. That'll put the Ford ahead of the Chevy. It goes Ford, Toyota, Ford, Chevrolet, Toyota here atop the pile. You can see that, of course, here on the timing tower on your screen. And so far, so good tonight, as we've only had 2 cautions for incident here on the racetrack. So nothing really to get too upset about overall, as we can see so many of these drivers showing off their ability to get her done here in Kansas City, Kansas. Of course, this week we're straddling the line between Kansas and Missouri, and next Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, we will be straddling the line between Tennessee and Virginia at Bristol Motor Speedway. We will be at Bristol on the regular concrete. The dirt has been cleaned off, and we'll be back regular hard surface racing. Whoa, easy there, as Matt White getting a little loose. We're going to run that back just just to show how close that was for Matt White. We can see Matt White coming out of the turn here onto the backstretch and onto the front stretch, and just gets himself a little fishtaily, but nothing too serious, as he is able to bring it back under control here. Taking a look at Michael Astuto now, running in third position right now, trying to make his way on the low side of White to secure P2 here toward the end of stage number 2. Mike Wright, of course, with a 2.75 second lead over these two drivers. They are going to be going hammer and tongs here in the closing laps of stage number 2. Mike Wright crosses the start-finish line here on lap number 89. Just 2 laps to go in stage number 2. Michael Astuto running in P2 with Matt White and Brandon Minto going at it side by side here, coming out of the 3-4 complex. Once again, it looks like the 48 getting a little bit wild coming out of there as they go down through into turn 3. Brandon Minto going to be holding the low side. We're going to watch this very closely. We can see the dashboard here of the 12 car as he is now trying to draft himself back up to the rear of the 48. Right now it's Wright, Astuto, White, Minto, your top 4, with Jeff Carson up 8 positions now, running in P5 right now, rounding out the top 5 in that Mobil 1 Toyota Supra. Mike Wright comes around here on lap number 90, and once he crosses the start-finish line, we'll begin waiting to see exactly what's going to happen here with the remainder of the top 10 as they get ready to cross the start-finish line. Minto gets right into line behind the 48. Ricky Carmichael just edges out Matthew Helm. And it looks like Ian Humphreys and Aaron Mack going to round out the top 10 as the caution flag flies, the green and white checkered flag comes out, and it will be Mike Wright, Michael Astuto, Matt White, Brandon Minto, Jeff Carson, Ricky Carmichael, Matthew Helm, Corey Burkett, Ian Humphreys, and Aaron Mack, your top 10 here to conclude stage number 2. And right now we're going to take a look here and see if we can get a hold of Mike White. Forgive me, folks. Mike Wright, maybe on the third try I get it right, and we'll see if he's available right now. Mike Wright, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You get a copy.
Davey boy. How's
What's
it
up,
going?
buddy? Listen, I'm good up here. I mean, I got to tell you, you're definitely doing a lot better than me, though. Running around second stage. I mean, right now you've swept the first 2 stages. Obviously, the short run kind of benefited you, as you had mentioned earlier. So what are you thinking now with 110 laps to the conclusion of stage number 3?
I think all the Ferta boys want sun on the track and no yellow, and I think we'll all be pretty good.
Fair enough. Get that sun on the track, get everything slicked up real nice as you get ready to bring the field down pit road. Folks, we're looking at Mike Wright here, your stage 2 winner, of course, also your stage 1 winner, and your points leader for the season. And Mike, as soon as you come out of here, I've got one more question, speaking of points, so let's get you in here and get you some service.
What you got?
So, here we are getting ready to go into the playoffs, of course, after next week at Bristol Motor Speedway. What are you thinking once we reset these points? Because you have been dominant this regular season. How are you feeling going into the postseason, into the playoffs?
Well, I mean, I feel pretty good. It's nice to have a system with the playoff points to reward the wins and stage wins, things like that. So, I think that's gonna make it to where one race won't ruin you. Just having that bit. We've been working hard the last month or so to get Brandon secured in the points since he doesn't have a win at the moment, and we've done pretty good with that. So he's been running really well, and we got Mike running as well. So with him in, we got another person to run some setups and things off of. So I think we're going in pretty strong as a nice team unit there. So we're looking forward to it. We'll have some interesting tracks coming up. Be a little different. We'll skip over that Roval thing and get to the rest of them hopefully, but good tracks too. We got Homestead coming up that everybody's kind of missed that. We hadn't done that at all. And so I'm looking forward to Homestead and some other tracks. So I think we've positioned ourselves pretty well to have some good fun coming up.
All right, man. Well, folks, you heard it here. Mike Wright ready for the playoffs to begin and ready for that new challenge here in the postseason. So, Mike Wright, thank you very much, and we will get you back on up there to Ferda.
You got it, Dave. Talk to you later, hopefully.
Oh, I'm sure you will, brother, as we send him on back up there to Ferda Motorsports. Mike is one of those people that it just seems like we are always talking to him here week in and week out. But, a very dominant driver here in the MNN Xfinity Series, and now as we are going to get ready to rack him and stack him, Mike Wright sits atop the pile with Brandon Minto in P2. Jeff Carson going to be restarting on the inside of row number 2 from Cross Junction, Virginia. Michael Astuto in 4th. Matthew Helm going to round out the top 5 when we get back underway. Corey Burkett, Ethan Flanagan, Aaron Mack, John Bawalda, and Ricky Carmichael going to be rounding out your top 10.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know how.
The iRacing.com pace cars lights are off. They're coming through turns 3 and 4. That means that we're getting ready to go back green. Here for the beginning of stage number 3, we will be going to lap number 200. Once we come back around, we'll be on lap number 96. As we see that pace car dive down pit road, Mike Wright brings the field into the Geico restart zone. He hits the loud pedal, and we're back underway at Kansas Speedway. Some 3-wide action as wisely Chris Cloud bounces off and gets out of the way. Now we see the 3 commissioners. It's almost like some kind of a little chorus line. Oh! Ricky Carmichael gets loose, but he manages to recover. That's going to be your save of the day. We're going to go back here and take a look at Carmichael. There he is. We see Carmichael just getting loose just in front of Bob Nestor, who winds up probably having a code brown right there coming out of turn number 3 and into 4. As, that's something that you almost never want to see. But Carmichael able to save the day. That allows Nestor to climb back up into the top 10. He's kind of been out of that top 10 for the last several laps, and now gets back in there, running in 9th position, getting ready to go around Aaron Mack, as maybe Bob's trying to set himself up here in the final stage. Oh, and the 25 goes down. Manages to keep it together. We'll run this back and see exactly what might have just happened here to the 25. We'll take it from the exit of the turn, and he comes through probably a cold tire situation. He gets sucked down onto the apron coming out of turn 2, manages to recover pretty well, as he is currently running in 5th position right now. Mike Wright still your race leader, with Jeff Carson now up 11 spots. That Joe Gibbs Racing number 9 Mobil 1 Toyota Supra is now chasing down Mike Wright for that all-important top spot, of course. And we can see right now he has some real estate between himself and Mike Wright and Brandon Minto, as he's got about a half second to Mike Wright and 1.1 seconds back to Minto. So at this stage, he's probably in a pretty good place of real estate, as he's not really near anybody that's going to be making any kind of mistakes anytime soon. Meanwhile, Matthew Helm chasing down Michael Astudo. It looks like Helm is going to get to the inside of Astudo, maybe dive bomb him here. Astudo drops down in front of the 25, not necessarily blocking, but definitely keeping his own line, as he is hitting every mark every time the way that he needs to be here on lap number 102 of 200. Here in the final stage of the MNN Xfinity Series 200 lapper here, 300 miles at Kansas Speedway. The 25 car now works his way all the way around the 39, securing 4th position right now. Michael Astudo rounds out your top 5. We can see him now chasing down Matthew Helm to try to regain that P4 position. Looks like he's not going to be going to bed anytime soon. R.P. Allen in the 03 Toyota Supra, sponsored by USAA, leads Aaron Mack out of turn 4. Aaron Mack chasing him down like he owes him some lunch money, crossing the start-finish line. He takes the high side going down into turn number 1 and thinks better of it, as he's going to try to pass him on the low side, but does not have the momentum to get around there and get himself into a better position. Aaron Mack and R.P. Allen going at it hammer and tongs right now on lap number 106 of 200. Now Aaron Mack looks to the inside of R.P., and R.P. holding that high side, getting the run out of 2. That's a popular line to hold there. And at this point, I think Aaron Mack has seen enough to know that if he can secure that high line away from R.P. Allen, he stands a pretty good shot at being able to get that same run that R.P. Allen just did out of turn 2. So we'll see how Aaron Mack sets himself up as they come through the trioval. We'll do this again. Aaron Mack yet again going back to the well to see if he can take this away from R.P. Allen. You'd think by now maybe he would try to take R.P. Allen's line away from him. Instead, he's going to try to chase him down the backstretch as R.P. Allen gets the run. Looks like Aaron Mack once again takes the low side, but RP's going to get the better run once again out of 4. So at this point, things going to be staying the way that they are until Aaron Mack realizes he's got to get on that high side to get around RP Allen. Bob Nestor leading your Tuesday night NASCAR Thunder Truck Series commissioner. John Bawaldo III in the number 51 trackbookings.com Chevrolet Camaro. Nestor now chasing down setup guru Chad Sanner in the 59. That'll take us all the way up to Corey Burkett, who was darn near close to the lead earlier, running in 11th position right now, following Ethan Flanagan in his MNN Xfinity Series debut here on the Independence Racing Network. Ricky Carmichael, the GOAT of all that is Supercross and Motocross, getting ready to try to put Ian Humphries in his crosshairs as he is chasing down Aaron Mack and RP Allen. You got to figure, as RP and Aaron have been going side by side now for so many laps, that has allowed Ian Humphries and Ricky Carmichael to chase them down. And, you know, Ian is one of those drivers that we know is patient enough to basically wait for RP and Aaron to make some kind of a mistake, let them battle it out, and then chase them down, get involved in that dance, and get on past them. As Ian has been able to watch now every move that Aaron Mack is making, as this is now a 4-way battle for that all-important 6th position. Aaron Mack now being challenged by Ian Humphries as this 4-way battle for 6th gets hotter. RP Allen nearly throws a block in front of Ricky Carmichael. A little early, if you ask me, to throw that block. But hey, listen, who am I to judge? I wound up plowing into the back of an innocent driver last night here in the SNN Cup Series, brought to you by Davis Brothers Roofing over on Sim Racing Media here on YouTube.com. You can always check out what's going on SRM over at simracingmedia.com, or of course on our Facebook page. You can also follow us here on the Independence Racing Network on Facebook. Make sure that you subscribe, turn on these bell notifications, give us a thumbs up on our YouTube.com feed, as that helps more and more people find your friends and family out here racing in the iRacing servers. And you know, just as we're looking through here at this top 10. Wright, Carson, Minto, Astuto, Helm, Mack, Humphries, Allen, Carmichael, and Flanagan. We're going to see a lot more going on with this race as we get later and later. And right now, we are going to step aside and pay some bills here on the Independence Racing Network.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know how.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have, breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air. Back here at Kansas Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas. Lap 119 of 200 complete. Corey Burkett being chased down by Bob Nestor and Ethan Flanagan. Mike Wright, your race leader, followed by Jeff Carson in the number 9 Mobil 1 Toyota Supra. Brandon Minto in third. Michael Astuto back in fourth. Matthew Helm in fifth, Ian Humphreys in sixth, Aaron Mack in seventh, Ricky Carmichael in eighth, R.P. Allen in ninth, and Chad Sanner rounds out the top 10 here in the number 59 Black Rifle Coffee Chevrolet Camaro. And we have seen some great racing tonight here at Kansas Speedway. Can't wait to see what these next 81 laps hold for us. And, quite frankly, as we get deeper and deeper in here, I get more and more excited to see exactly what's about to happen. You'll have to stand by, folks, as once again I am cleaning out some spam that has gotten into our YouTube.com live feed. You'll have to forgive basically technology. And just as we're getting ready to talk about that, we see the 32 of Ian Humphreys chasing down his teammate Matthew Helm, as this is going to be... Whoa! And the 32... Oh, no! The 25 gets loose down into the grass. We stay green as he is still moving forward. Let's see what exactly might have happened with Matthew Helm back here. And we see Matthew Helm here on the right side as we look from our drone cam. We see Helm coming into turn 3 as he's holding this high side over top of the 32. His teammate, Ian Humphreys, as it looks like right there coming into the tri-oval. The car just snaps and sucks itself into the wall. He gets down and manages to stay away as he does some landscaping here on the infield. Something that you don't usually like to see, but, you know, unfortunately, racing is racing, even when bad things like that happen. So just to put things into perspective here, your Xfinity Series qualifying winner, qualifying record holder is Matt Kenseth, and set that record way back in October 16th, 2015 with a 29.204 second lap here with an average speed of 184.906 miles per hour. So obviously that record holding for quite some time, as we were just barely in the 30s tonight in our own qualifying session. That 29 almost inachievable. Most of these drivers all came in on lap number 92. So at this stage in the game, we're looking at waiting to see who's going to blink, as we are now under 70 laps to go in this final stage. We see the 04 of Ricky Carmichael chasing down Ian Humphreys in the 32. Now it looks like Carmichael steps down and gets alongside for just a moment of the 32. He wisely gets back into line, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to see Ricky here crank it up to crazy and try to get around Ian Humphreys. Sounds like Jeff Carson getting ready to pit this lap. I'm sorry, Alexander Gangler getting ready to pit this lap, as he was last in on lap number 71. Alexander, of course, down about 5 laps now, coming in for service. So this may be his money stop. Not really sure what the call here is all about, unless he's trying to stay out and get that lap back in the event of a caution. So right now he is desperately hoping for a caution, as he pulls it into his pit box, misses, and now gets in line. Alexander, that's not how we parallel park, as he gets 4 tires and a tank of Go Fast. three-way battle here between what appears to be the 03. The 03 of one of the Allen brothers. Let's see here. The 03 of RP Allen. And now it looks like Aaron Mack is dealing with just trying to chase down Mike Wright, Brandon Minto, Michael Astuto, Jeff Carson, and Ian Humphreys round out your top 5. Ricky Carmichael, Chad Sanner, Bob Nestor, Aaron Mack, and Corey Burkett round out the top 10 here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, live on the Independence Racing Network. I am Dave Regal here in the broadcast booth at our Conshohocken, Pennsylvania studio. As, we've seen a lot of good racing tonight. Mike Wright, of course, always opening himself up a lead, but tonight's lead is just this side of egregious, as he has now opened up an 8.44 second lead over Brandon Minto. And, one thing that I've always been curious, when you're a driver like Mike is, where he understands his setups, he understands what he has to do to each setup to make it better or more comfortable for him, that is, he definitely understands how to put those kind of changes into layman's terms. So sometimes you wind up talking to somebody who has experience in something, don't get me wrong, but they don't have a whole lot of experience. You're trying to help them, and before you know it, you're frustrated. And, here we are with just over 50 laps to go. We are at 60 laps to go right now, as we are on lap number 141 of 200. Just a couple of cautions for incident tonight in the MNN Xfinity Series. And folks, if you're just tuning in, that's something that you're going to see more and more often. As, I got to be honest with you, quite frankly, the MNN Xfinity Series is the cleanest racing series in iRacing. The trash gets taken out early every season, and that leaves us with some great race car drivers to get us through the rest of this very long and drawn-out season.
There's a new approach to lawn care, Preen One Lawn Care. Preen One does away with the hassle of multiple bags of different products. It has everything you need for a beautiful lawn in one bag. And all it takes is one application. For season-long weed control and feeding, apply the granules when the lawn is wet and weeds are actively growing. It blocks crabgrass all season. It prevents crabgrass seeds from growing. It kills the seedlings too, even when applied 4 weeks after they sprout. It's your best defense against tough weeds like dandelion, chickweed, henbit, and hundreds more. Plus, its slow-release formula feeds the lawn evenly for months to build stronger roots for maximum heat and drought resistance. Preen One delivers convenience and better performance in one package with one application. Spend more time enjoying your lawn and less time working on it. Preen One, and it's done. It's a lawn dream come true.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have, breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air. And we'll see just how many, as we're looking there at the schedule there. Bristol Motor Speedway next week, and then the playoffs going to be beginning the week following that down there at Texas Motor Speedway and the Arlington metro area. Of course, that's considered the Dallas metro area, or Dallas Metroplex, I believe they call it. But right now, Mike Wright just showing these drivers who's boss as he came down to lap number 150. RP Allen still has not come down to pit, so not sure if he's hoping for a caution. Maybe he can save just enough fuel to get there. But unfortunately, you never know exactly when that caution is going to come out, even with 46 laps to go. Lap number 162 of 200. Mike Wright, your points leader, also your race leader here in the number 98 Built Ford Proud Mustang, leads the way as if he is some type of a Sherpa guide going through the Himalayan mountains. Michael Astuto in the number 39 Ford Mustang running in P2. The first Toyota in the field is Jeff Carson, followed by Ian Humphreys. Brandon Minto just crawling up into the top three. And, you know, if there's one thing I know about Jeff, it's that he won't say anything real out of pocket, but at the same time, you know, you're right. How silly here. Ricky Carmichael working the low side of the 32 of Ian Humphreys, secures the spot away. Now Ricky Carmichael digs himself right into the top 5. We see Bob Nestor in the number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra chasing down Chad Sanner. Almost said Chad Nestor, as if Bob had some long-lost secret relative. Aaron Mack rounds out the top 10. Aaron Mack is in 9th, and then Corey Burkett rounds out the top 10. But you have to remember, out of all of that, Corey Burkett rounding out the top 10 isn't even the first car a lap down. The first car a lap down is Chad Sanner in the 59, and the next most important car there is the one that's driven by Ian Humphreys in the number 32, because, of course, as we know, you can hang out there in 6th, but Mike Wright is out here to make a name for himself and get her done at Kansas. Basically, at this point, Mike Wright has nothing to lose up here except for this race, as he has a near 13-second gap between himself and Michael Astuto. And now it sounds like the 82 going to be coming down pit road, as maybe Alexander has just had enough tonight. Taking a look here at Ian Humphreys, driver of the number 32 Toyota Supra. And just as we get over here to open up his driver details, we can see these from Renton, Washington. And right now, Ian Humphreys up 17 positions from where he had started. He's the big mover of the night at this point in the race. Running in P6 right now, up 17 from where he had started. So basically, starting in 23rd, now works his way all the way up here into that top 10 and working his way toward the top 5, where currently Ricky Carmichael runs in the 04 Chevrolet Camaro. And Ricky Carmichael now has a 12.8 second opportunity here to try to get himself up to Michael Astuto. Right now, it seems like probably the best thing that could happen for Ricky Carmichael and Ian Humphreys, if they want to try to make any kind of move here deeper in the top 5, would be that that C word that we talk about oh so often, as the Cross Junction Virginia native Jeff Carson up 10 spots right now, running in P3, and he is chasing down Brandon Minto in the closing laps of the MNN race here at Kansas Speedway. I'm Dave Riegel here on the Independence Racing Network. We are proudly presented by Northeastern Fire and Air, and of course the MNN Xfinity Series, brought to you by Butt Kicker and RS Button Boxes. And you know, Bob Nestor has done a lot of work to try to get this league to where it is, to try to get this series to where it is. As you know, Chris Claude is basically the overseer of all 3 levels of racing, kind of the let's just say the grand poobah of the SNN family of racing. But you know, he's picked a couple of leaders in Bob Nestor for Monday nights and John Bawalda for Tuesday nights to get things done here in the MNN Xfinity Series. Brandon Minto still being chased down by Jeff Carson. We can see Carson sniffing around that back bumper, has him down to a 0.2 of a second differential there, the gap between Minto and Carson. And that's allowing Mike Wright to basically set sail here, as he is now almost a half lap, if you think about it in terms of time, a half lap between Mike Wright and Brandon Minto. So he's got to be getting ready to pass Ian Humphreys, which, and he is, as that will then put 5 cars on the lead lap, something you almost never see. Especially when you have a league this size. I mean, we were 25 strong at the green flag, and to have 25 strong, and then, essentially Mike Wright passing 20 of them, lapping 20 of them, and it's not due to wrecks and things like that, folks. This is pure skill by Mike Wright. I mean, to have just 6 cars on the lead lap, 5 that aren't yourself, and just to keep chasing them down the way that he does. I mean, look, we can see Mike Wright right here. We can see Ian Humphreys just ahead of him, and that's not something that you really want to see when you can see the leader in that rearview mirror. Right now, the only cars in the lead lap, there are 6 of them, driven by Mike Wright, Brandon Minto, Jeff Carson, Michael Astuto, Ricky Carmichael, and Ian Humphreys, as Mike Wright passes the 10 car of Chris Claude once again. Chris Claude now down a total of about 3 laps, and we'll see that here on the left side of your screen once this ticks back through, as there are so many names to keep an eye on. But yes, Claude is 3 laps down, so awful sad for Claude Olinger, as he was a barber over in Leesport, Pennsylvania for a very long time. In fact, most of my childhood and a lot of my growing up, that was just the place that you went when you lived on that side of Irish Creek Road. And, here's the deal. We're looking at these drivers out here tonight, and, Mike Wright is just running a clinic. And last week, from what I understand, was about the same thing. And even though that I've recorded and tried to get that together to get uploaded, I mean, Mike Wright just once again running an absolute clinic. And folks, if you are just tuning in, we are 22 to go now. 22 to go at Kansas Speedway. Mike Wright, your race leader, followed by Brandon Minto and Jeff Carson. And Jeff Carson not going to be put to bed early tonight, as he is sniffing around for one of these podium positions. Aaron Mack now coming down pit road, as he is basically down 2 laps. But he is down in the pit right now. That leaves John Bawalda and Ethan Flanagan. Flanagan quietly coming back down to earth, of course, running in 12th position alongside his pop. So always good to see the fathers and sons, and really it's just parents and children. It could be a mother and a daughter situation, here on the iRacing.com servers. And, so many of these kids that get involved in iRacing, I mean, they have real-life racing aspirations. And, iRacing really scratches that itch, as we're 20 to go now at Kansas Speedway. iRacing really scratches that itch. I mean, yes, of course, a politician needs to get in front of people and needs to, shake a lot of hands and kiss a lot of babies. But, Mike Wright can do that without, the extra pomp and circumstance. You folks heard him here on our air, and he's just such a down-to-earth guy. And I'm sure that we're going to see that even as Jeff Carson is being chased down by Michael Astuto. And I got to tell you, Oh, and Carson slides up in front of Astuto. He takes that. Nah, maybe he got a little loose, but he definitely came up in front of Astuto. In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have: breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today, and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know how.
Mike Wright still leads this race with just 9 laps to go. And I'll tell you what, folks, it's going to be Wright, Minto, and Carson, your top 3 right now. Michael Astuto in the 39 car running in 4th position. Ricky Carmichael ready to have his best finish of the season tonight as he is chasing down Corey Burkett. Corey Burkett, of course, down, let's see here. Looks like just 2 laps Burkett is down by, but Mike Wright has passed almost everybody in the field as he now has the 32 of Ian Humphreys in his sights. And once he puts Humphreys down, that will leave just 5 cars on the lead lap as we can see Mike Wright coming through the Geico restart zone, crossing the start-finish line, and essentially that will put the 32 of Ian Humphreys down a lap. And now it's not just essential, it's literal. And now we're getting ready to see if Mike Wright can put Ricky Carmichael down a lap in these next 7 laps. And, you know, I got to be honest, maybe out of respect for the GOAT of all that is Supercross and motocross, maybe Mike Wright just kind of leaves him alone. But it doesn't look like at this point he will be doing any of that. As once he puts Carmichael down a lap, that will leave just 4, as we are now 6 to go as Mike Wright passes the start-finish line yet again. And we're just kind of watching to see exactly what happens here because, folks, got to be honest, not a whole lot going on elsewhere on the track as Michael Astuto just about the closest as anybody is to Jeff Carson, and Carson wants to hold on to that spot and get his first podium of the year. Oddly enough, not only will this be one of Jeff Carson's best finishes of the year, it will also be Ricky Carmichael's one of his best finishes of the year as we are 5 to go now at Kansas Speedway. And, you know, like I had mentioned earlier, next week we're going to be at Bristol, and they're in the concrete bowl once again, no more dirt. But as we are straddling a state line here in Kansas City, next week we'll be straddling another state line between between Virginia and Tennessee. And Mike Wright now gets on the high side of Ricky Carmichael. Carmichael goes down on the apron to give Mike Wright as much room as he needs, and then there were 4 cars left on the lead lap as Michael Astuto going to be in P4, Jeff Carson in 3rd, Brandon Minto in 2nd, and Mike Wright leads this piece with just 4 to go now. Everybody is so strung out tonight as, you can see here on the left side of your screen, Mike Wright, Brandon Minto, Jeff Carson, and Michael Astuto all left on your lead lap. And, if you look, Mike Wright has a 16.3-second gap over Brandon Minto. He also has a 17.4-second gap over Michael Astuto. So, it looks like with 2 to go now, things have absolutely calmed down, and that leaves Wright, Minto, and Carson out here for the taking. That also solidifies your podium as basically Astuto, well, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't speak too soon. It looks like Astuto is going to try and get to the rear of Jeff Carson. Meanwhile, Mike Wright out here with just about a half a lap to go as he's down the back stretch going into turn 3. Mike Wright, Brandon Minto, and Jeff Carson as Carson trying to hold on to that podium spot, being chased down by Michael Astuto in 4th position. Astuto sitting just in front of your commissioner, Bob Nestor. Mike Wright crosses the start-finish line. He is your race winner here at Kansas as Brandon Minto still trying to come around. And right now we're watching Jeff Carson as we know that he's not going to get to Minto. The 39 gets loose coming out of turn 4 as he was trying to give it all he had. And as Jeff Carson crosses the start-finish line, this will be his first podium of the season. And Mike Wright, my goodness, wins yet again here in the MNN Xfinity Series, exclusively brought to you on the Independence Racing Network. As Mike Wright gets ready to take that Polish victory lap here at Kansas, he will be followed by Brandon Minto, as Minto looking to celebrate along with Mike Wright. And I'll tell you what, those two teammates absolutely earned their 2 spots on the podium. And we're going to try to get a hold of Mike Wright here in the broadcast booth. Mike Wright, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Copy, Dave.
Hey man, congratulations on this win. You swept all 3 stages of the race, and now you have that built Ford proud Mustang coming down pit road to celebrate. And Mike, what is in these cars for you?
I feel like in real life and on here, the current package with the aero and the power makes them really fun to drive. You can drive them hard, but you have to respect the power and you have to respect the tires. And the way the race played out here, tires obviously played a big role. And we just had a setup that we were coming into the race thinking 1 and 2 on the bottom. We'd have to use that to make some passes, and thought maybe 3 and 4 we'd have to stay at the top. But after we got through a bit of that first run, we all found out that our setup was really good on the bottom. It saved our tires, let us have the long run speed, but also we held pretty good in the short run with the bottom too. So the setup made a big difference tonight, and then we all just drove it really well.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, once again, you dominated an entire race. I mean, you at one point had nearly a half-second lead even on your teammate and second place finisher, Brandon Minto. And as we look forward to Bristol next week, I mean, this week, as I had told our fans, we were straddling the state line between Kansas and Missouri. Next week, we go to straddle the state line between Virginia and Tennessee. What are you looking forward to next week as we get ready to go short track racing, as we had talked about earlier?
It's one of the more fun places to drive by yourself. It's a lot of fun, fast, multiple lanes. That the bottom's hard to make work, but you can make it work some. But then when you throw other people on there and try to squeeze everybody on the same track, I would anticipate there's going to be some mayhem and some cautions and just trying to survive. The restarts will be interesting with the new restart rules and not spinning tires and not accelerating too fast. That'll be a little different just because it's such a compact area. So it might be a long one, and hopefully we can make it around through the end to have a good run to have some fun at the end of the race.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. And listen, brother, before we cut you loose here, is there anybody that you need to thank to tip your helmet to, as it were, to end this evening here?
Obviously, the team here, we almost got the 1, 2, 3. Mike was working hard there to make the pass for third. Jeff was running pretty good from what I was hearing, and they had a good battle. So all 3 of us worked real well together to kind of figure out what we needed to do for the race. So that was good. And then if you look on the cars here, Mike was still running the black paint scheme from last week. Over his passenger door, it had Josh's name, which was Larry's son. If you look on Brandon's quarter panel, there's a yellow decal, JD with the Mustang logo, because he had a Mustang, yellow Mustang. And then I got that same logo on the B pillar here. So we'll be running those going forward. So again, shout out to them. I know he was watching because I've already got some text messages about the race from him. So I think he enjoyed watching that. So happy for that.
All right, man. Well, listen, then we will see you next week at Bristol and see if you can continue this role as we're getting ready to go into the playoffs. And Mike Wright, thank you very much for your time. We'll see you next week.
All right, have a good one.
That was Mike Wright, your race winner, points leader. He does just about everything here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series that you would want to do. And that will bring up Brandon Minto, driver of the number 12 Chevrolet Camaro from Norman, Oklahoma. Brandon Minto, Dave Riegel up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Hey, man, listen, great run tonight. You know, you almost got the 1-2-3 there, the FERTA 1-2-3, but you know, unfortunately, Jeff Carson decided to break that up and bring up the JGR flag. How was that Chevrolet Camaro handling for you tonight?
This may have been the best feeling car I've ever driven in my life. Like I could, if I needed to run high, I could run high, and it felt great. If most of the time I wanted to run low because I know it was going to save that right rear, and that's what I think a lot of people were struggling with was just that grip off of like turn 2 and off of turn 4. Not able to get back into the throttle or else they'll get loose. So this setup was just amazing the whole night. I didn't make any changes to it because I know Mike Wright was making a few changes when it came to like tire pressures and everything, but I'm like, hey, it's driving amazing for me right now. I don't want to touch it, and because I don't want it to end up messing me up in the long run.
Yeah, Mike had told us at the conclusion of stage 2 that he was starting to think about making some changes that would have made him better on the short run. That kind of paid off for a little while there, but after a while, it just seemed like Mike had set sail and decided to start teaching the rest of the field why he is sitting atop the point standings. I mean, there were only 4 cars left on the lead lap. I mean, he even managed to pass the GOAT, Ricky Carmichael, that rounded out your top 5. So, Brandon, I mean, once again, FERTA just dominant here on the coattails of Mike Wright.
Yeah, definitely. Like Mike, I don't know how he does it. Like he's so fast and he saves his stuff the entire time we're driving. He's like, yeah, I'm barely taking it into turn 1. I'm checking up early into turn 3, and he's still sitting here pulling away from me as I'm like driving my heart out. I'm like, Mike, I don't know how you're doing it, man. I just don't understand how he can drive that fast while saving his stuff.
Trust me, I totally get it, and believe me, even sitting here in the broadcast booth, there are weeks that I just look down on the track and I'm thinking, I couldn't imagine it. He's just that good, and you, Brandon, we're right there with him tonight, so congratulations on this P2 finish, and before we cut you loose, is there anybody that you'd like to tip your helmet to?
Oh, yeah, there's quite a few people, so my first shout-out's going to go to my parents. My parents always tuning in and giving me support throughout the race, and I look forward to looking back to it. My dad texted me throughout the race like, "Oh, good pass there, good." I'm like, "Dad, sorry, can't really check my phone while I'm racing, but I want to give a shout out to my parents for always tuning in." My Uncle Scott up in Michigan, he was tuning in tonight. Thanks, Uncle Scott, for watching. Glad I can put on a good show for you. I want to give a good shout out to FERTA. Like just FERTA tonight, we did amazing. Like you were saying, I think there was only 4 cars on the lead lap, and 3 of them were FERTA cars. So we all worked together. Mike just being amazing and giving us some advice on how to save tires and everything like that. And then got a couple friends watching from from work. So the A1 Day 1, Dan the Man Duran. I want to give a shout out to him for tuning in. Manny, Corey McDowell. Thanks everybody for watching.
All right, man. Well, then we will see you next week at Bristol Motor Speedway as we go from straddling the line between Kansas and Missouri to straddling the line between Tennessee and Virginia. So congratulations once again, and we will see you next week.
Yes, sir. See you next week.
All right, Brandon. That will lead us now on to my Sunday night NASCAR teammate and tonight's third place finisher, the pride of Cross Junction, Virginia, Jeff Carson, with his best finish of the season here in the MNN Xfinity Series. Jeff Carson, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you, Dave.
Hey, man, look at you finishing on the podium tonight, breaking up that FERTA, magic that they had going there as you got right there in the mix here toward the end. What did you have under the hood of that Toyota Supra tonight?
Just had a long run speed. Like I'm always good on these long runs. Of course, nobody has anything for Mike, so I'll just battling there with Michael and Brandon there for the second, third, and fourth.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, getting in between those FERTA cars, I mean, you took that JGR all the way to the max, and we go from here at Kansas on a mile and a half to next week. We're looking at a short track, high banks, big concrete bowl, the last Coliseum at Bristol. How are you feeling getting ready to go into that?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of short tracks. A lot of carnage. I've never finished one. I always end up getting collected in the wreck. So basically, I'm going in there with the mindset of trying to finish next week.
Trust me, I get it. I know that a lot of times we'll be sitting in Discord together, okay, stay clean. And usually it's me that gets wrapped up first. You get it second. And, I totally understand. But, without a doubt, I'm sure that you'll be working on a setup for that and getting ready to rock and roll.
That's right. I'll start working on one tomorrow and get ready for next week. And I just got to try to keep fighting to try to stay in the playoff fight.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations. And before we cut you loose, is there anybody that you'd like to tip your helmet to as, you've got a lot of people to give some credit to tonight?
Oh yeah, definitely. First, I'll start with you with doing an awesome job at broadcasting. I love watching you. You do a great job up there. To the league owners, Bob, Chris, to putting the league together, and then of course the teammates to help me, get around the track and keep me fresh, and my sponsor, Mobile One, and everybody else that I forgot.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations on the podium finish tonight. We will see you next week at Bristol Motor Speedway.
All right, I'll see you then. Thank you, Dave.
All right, man. We're going to cut him loose. And, folks, that brings us to basically looking here and another one in the books in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, as we've seen some great racing tonight. And, once again, the MNN Xfinity Series drivers bringing the heat from start to finish. And we'll take one last look at this final lineup. Mike Wright, Brandon Minto, and Jeff Carson made up your podium tonight, with Michael Astuto in fourth and Ricky Carmichael rounding out the top five. Ian Humphreys in sixth, with Chad Sanner and Bob Nestor in seventh and eighth, with RP Allen and Ethan Flanagan rounding out the top 10. Corey Burkett, John Bawalda, Aaron Mack, Justin Prater, Chris Claude, Alexander Gangler, Lauren Jones, Tony Burt, Matthew Helm, and Zachary Vaughn make up the top 20, with Matt White, Andrew T. Jones, Brad Gunn, Bennett Allen, and Jackson Derby rounding out the field that took the green flag and made it to the checkers in some form tonight, as Anthony Paggio registered for the race but never made it, basically out of pit road. So not sure what happened to Anthony Paggio. Hope that we can see him next week at Bristol Motor Speedway. So, folks, just quite a race tonight, and we're looking forward, of course, to going short track racing at the last great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway, next week in Tennessee. So join us next Monday night, going live at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Independence Racing Network on YouTube.com. Make sure that you subscribe, turn on those bell notifications. Give us a thumbs up if you like what you see. And if you like hanging out with me, you like hanging out with myself and my partner in crime, Tony Trapasso, tomorrow night, as we call the Rick Motec Extreme Scoring Cup Series over on Sim Racing Media. You can always catch us together every Tuesday night. And even on a Wednesday night from time to time, calling the Thunderclap Series, also over on Sim Racing Media. So for everybody here at the Independence Racing Network, the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, exclusively brought to you by Northeastern Fire and Air, sponsored by Butt Kicker and RS Button Boxes. I'm Dave Regal saying tomorrow, when you're going through your day, make sure that you find that happy thought, that happy moment, and you hang on to that and remember to smile. Good night, everybody.